السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله النبي الكريم أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we have finished 15 juz and we have 15 left, alhamdulillah, and today we'll be reciting the 16th juz, which has the completion of Surah Al-Kahf, the completion of Surah Maryam, and the entirety of Surah Taha. As we read Surah Al-Kahf yesterday, and there's so much beneficial advice in nasiha in the surah. In this juz, it completes the story of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam and starts the story, it mentions the story of Zul Qarnayn, and how they offered him money, as we mentioned yesterday. In Surah Maryam, it starts off at Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad, Huruf Muqatta'at, and we don't know what it means. People have tried to guess, but in reality, we don't know what these beginning or the first verse means. However, the surah starts off with ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا. The first point, we are learning the method of dua. With Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam, he said إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا. He made dua silently. Generally, dua should be made silently and privately when no one else can hear. However, obviously, ijtima'i and duas together is also permissible. However, dua generally should be made in privacy alone with just you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ نِدَاءً خَفِيًّا. How did he start the dua? What did he say at the beginning of the dua? قَالَ رَبِّي إِنِّي وَهَنَ الْعَظْمُ مِنِّي. Oh Allah, my bones are weak. وَاشْتَعَلَ الرَّأْسُ شَيْبًا. The hair on my head has turned white. وَلَمْ أَكُمْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّ شَقِيًّا. And I'm not deprived of your dua even then, Ya Allah. So first, you express your weakness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya Allah, I've done this. Ya Allah, I'm this. Ya Allah, I'm that. But you, Ya Allah, you're great. Ya Allah, you are amazing. So, إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا قال ربي إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا but ولم أكن بدعائك ربي شقيا. Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam knew that even though scientifically speaking, the dua and the request that he is making for, the supplication that he is making, scientifically speaking, is impossible. Ya Allah, I know I'm weak. Ya Allah, I know I'm old. وَإِنِّي خَفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي وَكَانَتْ امْرَأَتِي عَاقِرًا. And I know my wife is barren, she can't give birth. However, Ya Allah, فَحَبْ لِي مِنْ لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا يَرِثُنِي وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوبَ. Ya Allah, even then I'm asking for a child that's going to inherit my knowledge. يَا زَكَرِيَّا إِنَّا نُبَشِّرُكَ بِغُلَامٍ اسْمُهُ يَحْيَى. O Zakaria, we give you the glad tidings of a child by the name of Yahya alayhi salatu wasalam. So Yahya alayhi salatu wasalam was born and was the son of Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam. So, dua method, we humble ourselves, we put ourselves below Allah, and then we elevate Allah, we praise Allah, and then we request. No matter, even though if it's an impossible dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's absolutely nothing that is impossible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then it beautifully mentions the story of Maryam alayhi salatu wassalam and her story of giving birth to Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wassalam, and her determination as mentioned in the surah. If we see يا أخت هارون ما كان أبوك امرأ سوء وما كانت أمك بغية. Oh Maryam, when Maryam alayhi salatu wasalam gave birth to Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, there were people who accused her of waliyaz billah, committing zina with a person who used to live in the area, you can say, and they accused her of committing zina. And they said to her, Ya ukhta Harun, ma kana abuk imra. Your father was not a bad person. Your mother was not a bad person. How could you be a bad person? This is an ishara of Allah. If your parents are righteous, then the child committing a sin is even worse. It's not expected a child to do something wrong when the parents are righteous. In order to be righteous parents, then we need to raise righteous children. Then it talks about the story of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. وَذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ إِنَّهُ كَانَ صِدِّيقًا نَبِيًّا. And he had a whole detailed conversation with his father, and his father at the end, he said, "Oh Ibrahim, if you don't leave me, if you don't stop this, أَرَاغِبًا أَنْتَ عَنْ آلِهَتِي يَا إِبْرَاهِيم لَإِن لَمْ تَنْتَهِ لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ وَاهْجُرْنِي مَلِيًّا." That I'm going to stone you and I'm going to kick you out. قَالَ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكَ أستغفر لك ربي إنه كان بي حفيا. When you have done your part, you deliver the message, even if it's your father. Then when the father is out of position, Salamun alayk. I'm going to make dua for you and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide you. But disrespecting our parents, it should never reach that level. Then if you go to Surah Taha, the beginning of Surah Taha is the translation of it. Everyone should make an effort to read it. Why? Because this was the beginning of the surah is what convinced Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala an to accept Islam. Taha ma anzalna alayka al-Qur'ana litashqa illa tadhkiratan liman yakhsha tanzilan mimman khalaqa al-arda was-samawati al-'ula ar-rahmanu 'ala al-arshi istawa lahu ma fi as-samawati wa ma fi al-ardi wa ma baynahuma wa ma tahta ath-thara. A very beautiful beginning before it starts the story, the very beautiful story of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. And this surah contains, you can say, the most detailed description and detailed story about Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. And Musa alayhi salatu wasalam made the very famous dua, رَبِّ اشْرَحْ لِي صَدْرِي وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي وَاحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي يَفْقَهُوا قَوْلِي. This is generally where we start. This is generally where we stop. رَبِّ اشْرَحْ لِي صَدْرِي. We stop at يَفْقَهُوا قَوْلِي. And however, the ulama say that Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he restricted this dua. How did he restrict the dua? Because he said, يَفْقَهُوا قَوْلِي. Ya Allah, this stuttering problem that I have, Ya Allah, remove it just enough for people to understand me. يَفْقَهُوا قَوْلِي. So they can understand my statement. When we make dua, we are not supposed to restrict the dua. We're not supposed to say, Ya Allah, make my, if you can't see well, you have trouble hearing. You don't say, Ya Allah, cure my eyes where it's good enough to read. Ya Allah, completely cure it. Grant me shifa'i kamil. Ya Allah, cure my ears good enough to hear. No. Ya Allah, grant me shifa'i kamil. So we don't restrict the du'as. We don't put restrictions on what we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do for us. However, if you continue with this dua, وَجَعَلْ لِي وَزِيرًا مِّنْ أَهْلِي, and make me a partner, Ya Allah. I want a partner. Harun akhi, and make my, the ulama say, this is the greatest dua and the best dua ever made by a human being. وَجَعَلْ لِي وَزِيرًا مِّنْ أَهْلِي Harun akhi, because Musa alayhi salatu wasalam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make Harun alayhi salatu wasalam into a prophet. Making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make Harun alayhi salatu wasalam to be a prophet. But why do I want my brother, Ya Allah? Ushdud bihi azri wa ashrikhu fi amri, so that he can strengthen my burden. He can help me with my burden. Wa ashrikhu fi amri, he can be a partner in my task. And kay nusabbihaka kathira. You see, we want other people to help us, join us. Why? So that we can get more free time, lay back, chill, and do whatever you want. Musa alayhi salatu wasalam says, Ya Allah, I want help. Kay nusabbihaka kathira. كَيْ نُسَبِّحَكَ كَثِيرًا, so that we can increase the tasbih on you. Ya Allah, because I want to do more zikr for you. I want a partner who's going to help me remember you more. I want a partner that's going to remind me to do your zikr, Ya Allah. This is why I want a partner. We're looking for partners and help for worldly matters, where Musa alayhi salatu wasalam is saying, Ya Allah, I want more help so I can increase my ibadah, so I can get more time to do more ibadah, so the environment around me is beautiful enough where it encourages me to do your ibadah, Ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's many beautiful points that are mentioned in Surah Taha. If you get a chance, try to make an effort to study this surah too. And near the end of the surah, وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاسْتَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا. We are told to tell our family members to pray salah and stay firm on it. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he says so beautifully, he says that the most important ibadah in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is as-salah. Do not be neglectful of your salat. Be steadfast in your prayer. Pray your 5-time daily prayers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept us. Give us the strength and the tawfiq to pray our daily prayers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst His righteous servants. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wa akhiru da'wana. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.